What I realized on my journey was a lot of us don't believe that we can achieve the impossible. And along my journey, I started realizing, man, I gotta tell some people about this shit, man. Like, I discovered something that some people have, but they don't even know. All of us have it. But along this way, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a theorist. I became a practitioner. And I was like, my God, I'm busting down so many barriers of, like, I have a learning disability. Okay, but I'm catching up with everybody. I figured that out. I figured out all these negative things in my life that were keeping me in this hole. I'm like, I gotta tell people, man, that, hang on a second, man. You can achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part. This isn't like some 5-step process where if you do these 5 steps, you're gonna end up with this magical world. No, I'm basically teaching you how to callous over your victim's mentality. I'm teaching you how to, like I did 67,000 pull-ups in training for the pull-up record. I was seriously callousing my hands to protect them. What I'm trying to do with people is teach them how to find more of themselves to where they empower themselves. I'm all about the underdog. So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them, being fine with being mediocre. You want to go back to who you were, huh, David? I'm like, that, man.
And you have that conversation with yourself every day?
Not every day, it's those bad days.
Yeah.
It's those bad days. I see a whole bunch of people walking around out here who have no idea how talented they truly are. And I'm talking about talent, like some God-given ability. Talent that sometimes you have to hone, you have to work on, and you have to harness yourself. And they just walk around just on their phones, just clueless to how powerful they are. Well, I believe that you have to build belief. Belief is like, there's an after-school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself, and that's all great, but there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one where you are constantly, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof. So whenever you think you can't, the confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, hey, I'm gonna go knock that shit out. You gotta look over here and say, I can knock it out. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself. But the biggest key to success in anything you do is you gotta have an unlimited supply of you. This drive and passion, and it may come from nothing. Like for me, there was no passion, no drive, no nothing. But I had this fire that I'm gonna be somebody. And it has to be there because on all those bad days and all those days you don't wanna do shit, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own trainer, your own everything. So to do that, you have to come into work, and work is, whatever your work may be, ready to go. And what that means is you may have failed miserably yesterday, but you come to work like, people are like, man, you just lost everything. How the hell are you this damn motivated? Because this is what it takes. This is what it takes. And you got to get it from wherever you can. Whether you make up this illusion of your life or this false reality that gets you motivated, whatever gets you motivated, it's got to be here at the tip of your brain at all times. Because in those dark moments, you got to pull it out. So that's the big thing for me, man. I was always fired up at all times. You have to first accept it before you can fix it. A lot of people walk around, oh man, I'm good. I'm good. No, you're not. You have to accept what you're not. You have to, and people don't want to do that. And that's the only way you can fix it. You have to accept it first before you can go on the journey. A lot of folks never even start the journey, man. They never start the journey because they're living this fake life that who they want to be, they act like they are, but they're not because they haven't fixed all this stuff yet. You got to fix this first before we can start our journey in life. So that's why I have them make this list. You fix these problems, now your journey can begin because you no longer care about how people are judging you. When you care more about how someone's judging you, you're going to stay right there. There's no forward momentum. I say, I define success very differently than most, I believe. I don't think success is actually you not struggling or not quitting or stuff like that. I define success by you continuously fighting, by always showing up every single day by whatever's in front of you and putting one step in front of the other, regardless what the outcome may be. You just continue to fight every and any obstacle in front of you. That is my definition of success. When you've gone that deep inside yourself, and all those feelings of pain that I had, I was in the worst pain of my life, ever. And some people think, man, you're just crazy. No, when you've done that, and you figured out so much on your own, and all that pain and discomfort I had in that tub laying there, passing out, everything, was confirmation of what I just figured out. I just figured out the code. I figured out a code that many people aren't looking for. And I want it to be known. I want that feeling. This was confirmation. This was like a scientist's notes. Mm-hmm. The notes were here. The notes were all this feeling. It was a confirmation. And no one at that time could understand what I just done. I cracked the code to human potential in myself. And I was still like, oh my God, like this is unbelievable what I just did. So it's that quiet place. Wow. It's that place by yourself. It's those hours and years and decades by yourself in the grip of life. When life has you by the throat and choking you out and you're sitting there calm because you're trying to figure it out. You're not panicking. You're not quitting. You're not throwing in the towel. You're saying there's a way around this. And when you figure it out, when life has you gripped in a vice and you can figure that out, that's when you overcome. It's ugly. Yeah. And what's funny about it is that as you're trying to fix yourself and dig yourself out of this deep hole that life, society, and you helped also, those people who you saw down there in that hole who were there with you, who were your friends and people who you counted on, because you meet the people in the same situation that you're in life. Those people become your friends. And the second you try to get out of that situation and become better, those people are in that grave, in that dungeon, just yanking at your heels, man, saying, get the back. Oh no, come on back here. Yeah. You ain't gonna make me feel like you getting out of this hole.
Who the think you are?
So I get that all the time now. People would constantly remind me of who I used to be back in the day. And they always come out of the woodworks, man. Versus my
That's still happening?
You know what? When you come from a small town, and you come from a place that a lot of people don't want to come out of it and get out of it, and all you want to do is become somebody, when you have small town mentality is a real mentality. You've got to be able to get out and let your mind see open-mindedness. Because a small town, what it does to you is it closes your mind, completely closes your mind. Not everybody. This isn't everybody, a lot of people. You have to be able to go out there and create open-mindedness. You need space. You need space to see the world. Like a lot of racism, a lot of ignorance in the world, it comes from people not being out and seeing other things, seeing other people, seeing all kind of shit. That's why we judge so harshly, because our minds are so closed to the reality of life, period. That's one thing about it. Don't do everything in your life for money. Don't do everything, yes, we need it to survive. There's a great drive and passion behind doing things for the mind and the soul. There's a great drive in that. Everybody goes, man, you talk with such passion. This is a life. This is my life. So that's what I want people to get from all this stuff, man. Like, there's something inside you. The brain is the most powerful thing. The mind is the most powerful thing that we have. It's not your phone. It's not the computer. It's not anything. It's your mind. And if you can tap into that, you can come from the daggone roots of hell and become such a great seed, a powerful seed that can grow into some great daggone garden. And people don't get that. It's all up here. The power and the magic's up here. I had to tell this young man or woman that the only way, I believe, and this is just my experience in life, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. And some people will get it and some people won't. But they have to see what their journey is to start their journey. Several people live to be 100 years old and they have great lives and they have great kids. Their kids go to college and all sorts of stuff. But somewhere in their life, there was a point where they had a decision to make. They can go left or right on this path. Left was the easy route. Right was the hard route. A lot of people take the easy route. And they had a good life that way, but the better life was going to the right side. And you may have 20 years of pain and suffering to get past it, but a lot of us die never truly starting our journey. And I would tell this young person, you gotta start your journey. It may suck, but it will come out the other side where you're coasting. So let's say I'm training for a 100-mile race and I get to mile 50.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and like everybody else, my mind gets soft. Why? Because I'm human.
Yeah.
I'm not some damn, hybrid creature that was formed from the heavens above. No, not. Human. I suffer. I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So my mind starts to get weak and we start to forget about how badass we are. I call that the cookie jar, but it's not about the cookie jar right now.
Yeah.
This is about self-talk.
Yeah.
But the cookie jar kind of goes to self-talk too.
Yeah.
It's a piece of it. So basically what I do here is you have to make sure that your mind doesn't become spastic. When it's suffering, when it's in pain, all it wants to do is find the easy way out, which is usually quit. If you quit, the pain goes away immediately.
Yeah.
You gotta give yourself enough energy and fuel in your mind to stay just a little bit longer so you can talk yourself into staying for the whole thing. What we don't do is we don't go inside. So literally turn yourself inside out. Read the book that's like we're writing a book every day of our lives, but we never read that book. So what I would challenge this young man or young woman to do is you have to look inside of yourself to see what you really want. What are you passionate about? We use these words and these little phrases of only the strong survive and all this other crap. They're all just words. I get so tired of hearing people just talking. Like right now, someone may think Goggins is just talking. You don't know me. So when I speak from passion. I speak from experience. I speak from suffering. My biggest advice to give everybody in the world is, like I say, we live in an external world. Everything is you got to see it, touch it. It's external. If you can, for the rest of your life, live inside of yourself. Stop listening to people who are calling you fat. Everything that is makes no sense. All these insecure people putting their insecurities on you, you got to flush it out. You got to just be whoever the hell God or whatever the hell you believe in. If you believe in nothing but yourself, I don't care what it is. You got to take everything and throw it away. You have to believe in one thing, and that is yourself. When you figure this out on your own, the amount of pride and dignity and self-respect you have. That's why I walk around the streets with a backpack and just like, I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
You figure it out by going inside yourself, by callousing over the victim's mentality. You're always a victim, even if you have everything in life, until you realize what you've achieved. You have to first realize what you've achieved. It's until you open your mind, open-mindedness creates that. We all shut down our mind. Like for instance, when I broke the pull-up record, everybody around me who heard the pull-up record was 4,020 pull-ups. That's the first thing they did. Oh my God.
4,024 hours, or was
Yeah,
this?
it's 4,020 pull-ups in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
The first thing I did versus closing my mind to it, oh my God, that's crazy. I went and got a pen.
So how many is that every minute?
Exactly.
Every hour, every second. Yeah.
Instead of taking life and making it out to be this grandiose thing, start breaking it down. Start breaking it down. And most of us, we live in a box. And we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. But what we do is we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind that this is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. And we take away the possibilities of you could be this, you could be that, you could be all these things. And I never thought at 300 pounds I could be Navy SEAL.
Wow.
So if my mind was shackled, me and you would never meet. There'd be no book.
Right.
There'd be no book.
Right.
There'd be nothing. So what people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself. And through that, I would die never knowing that I had the power to change millions of lives.
Self-belief is overrated. I prefer evidence. One little step. Okay, can I do this thing? Yes, I can. Can I do this thing? Yes, I can. Like, I was riddled with so much uncertainty and self-doubt, especially throughout my 20s, even though I'd ostensibly achieved some success, which made the self-doubt feel even more shameful, right? Because I didn't even have the rampant poverty and like, you know, despondent lifestyle. I had something outwardly that looked like it was sorted, but inwardly felt like I was chronically unconfident of myself. And yeah, that you can really, really break through a lack of confidence by just doing tiny, tiny little things and keeping promises to yourself. And over time, Rogan calls it layers of paint. So each time you just one layer of paint, one layer of paint. And it's so gossamer thin that you never even see it. But then when you turn around after a long enough time, you go, fuck, that's a big pile of paint. And then it's a mountain. Everyone is jealous of what you've got. No one is jealous of how you got it.
I love that quote.
My God. People see the trophies, but not the training ground.
Everybody wants the view, but no one wants the climb. I love it.
If your definition of success is win or lose, giving everything you've got and growing or learning along the way, then you're setting yourself up for success. I really think the biggest cheat code in life is just going after it and not being concerned of whether or not you fail at one specific task. Instead, understanding the big picture, what your long-term goal is, and knowing if you keep driving forward and never fucking quit, in the end you will succeed. The fastest growth periods are often the most miserable. If you want progress, get used to pain. The worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. The hardest you've ever worked is the hardest you've ever worked. Every new challenge shows you a new territory you were scared of but survived. Every time you break a new limit, you now know you have the capacity to handle more than you ever did before. It's inverse PTSD, like workload exposure therapy, that teaches you, oh, I've been here before and I didn't die. This is okay. You are your own worst enemy. You waste precious time dreaming of the future instead of engaging in the present. Since nothing seems urgent to you, you're only half involved in what you do. The goal should be for you to be able to perform whether you're in the middle of a war zone, whether you've not had any sleep, whether you've done whatever, right? That I want to be able to work like this and then build myself off the top of that with, oh, I'm great. I managed to get my morning walk in and I managed to train and I managed to do all the rest of it. But there's a degree of fragility that comes with over-optimization because people no longer feel like they're sufficiently robust to do this stuff. Until you win, effort always goes unnoticed. Yeah. Get used to it. No one roots for you until everyone roots for you. That's just how it works. You really can solve a lot of male problems by getting in shape and making money. You still have problems. They're just smaller and you have more resources to handle them. The world is there for the taking for anyone who can learn from their mistakes, do what they say they were going to do, and stick with it, even if it's not sexy. What used to make a man acceptable now makes you extraordinary. The bar for winning has never been so low. There's a saying that if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. At Apple, I learned that is a total crock. You will work harder than you ever thought possible, but the tools will feel light in your hands. You cannot wish for a strong character and an easy life. Each is the price of the other. What if what you're going through isn't hard? What if you're just sensitive?
when you're growing in a business, it's very painful. When you're stagnating in a business and you're plateaued and you don't know what to do, it's very painful. When you're declining and you also don't know what to do, it's very painful. And so that means that all conditions of reality are painful. And so if pain is a prerequisite for reality, then it means it's just a signal that we are alive. And so in thinking about that, rather than pain as a problem, it is a signal that I'm breathing, and then becomes irrelevant.
This is all to say that no matter where you're at in your journey, you've just got to believe with all your fucking heart that you're going to make it, because no one else is going to believe for you. Because you can never expect someone to invest in you more than you invest in yourself. And the crazy thing is, some people say they'd kill for a shot or they die for a chance, when in reality, they won't even wake up 60 minutes earlier for it.
The bigger your goals, the more pain you're going to endure, whether you want to or not. It's the price. And if you can endure 4 times more pain than someone else, I don't actually think that it feels 4 times more painful. I think it feels the same level of pain, but you have this padding that makes it feel worth it. Give a man a purpose and the ability to achieve it, and he will crawl over broken glass with a smile. That broken glass, like, how can you have a smile during the pain? It's because of what the pain itself represents.
You know, girlfriend breaks up with you. Okay, then you go into work and you sulk because you're distracted, and then you don't do the same level of effort and you're not enthusiastic. And then all of a sudden your work suffers and you get put on a PIP or you get fired. And then now you're fired and you don't have a girlfriend, and then you start gaining weight and you stop going to the gym. And all of a sudden you're like, man, bad things happen in threes. It's like, no, bad things happen all the time, and they only become interrelated if you let it affect your behavior. And so I think the equal opposite of that is thinking, okay, this bad thing occurred. What can I do to decrease the likelihood something else bad occurs in the meantime? And then boiling everything down to activities or the actions that I have to take. And I think about that actually a lot, which is how, like, if you think about from the power perspective of, okay, something bad happens, how much would it affect my behavior? Well, the person who's indestructible would have something terrible happen and then nothing would change. And I love that.
Or they'd get better.
Exactly, yeah.
So where does motivation come from? Motivation comes from deprivation. So let me explain. So when are you more motivated to eat, drink water, sleep? When you're hungry, thirsty, and tired. That's when you're the most motivated. Have you ever finished a big meal and been like, man, I could go for another pizza? Probably not. Have you drank a big gallon of water and been like, I don't want any more fluids? Of course not, because you're not deprived. And so when you're full, you don't want it anymore. After you finish Thanksgiving dessert, you're stuffed. Are you still hungry? No. After you drink a bunch of water, do you want more? No. So what does this have to do with motivation to win and make money? I told you, I'll wrap it. I'll move it, right? Because by this logic, wouldn't all poor people be motivated since they're deprived of money, right? That would make sense. But we know that's not the case, because the people who make the most money are the ones who keep wanting to make more. So here's why. You know when you're tired, hungry, or thirsty, you perceive a gap. And your motivation is proportional to your deprivation, how much you don't have, right? Very hungry, like this guy is much hungrier than the person who's just like, maybe I'll have dinner on the way home. And so here's why money motivation is more complicated than hunger or thirst or being sleepy. With money, deprivation is not physiological, it's psychological. You only feel poor if you perceive a large gap between where you are and where you really want to be. So let's say you're at $5,000 a month in income, and your desire is to get to $10,000 a month. Fair enough? Cool. Now let's say this guy's doing $1 million a month in income, but he wants to get to $10 million a month in income. Relative to their goal, one guy is closer. He's only half of his goal. The other guy's 1/10 of his goal. Who's more deprived? Hang around 5 people with 10 times the net worth that you have, and you'll feel poorer than you ever did when you were poor around poorer people than you.
The hard way is the easy way, because the easy way never gets you there. So think about it. People always are looking for the shortcut, but you have to accept a very simple truth, which is that the shortcut never actually takes you to the place that you're trying to go. And it's because it's rarely one big thing. And I would postulate, fancy word, right, that there are a lot of shortcuts that exist in life. Wait for it. And everyone already uses those. And so whenever an actual shortcut gets found, all humans immediately do it, and it no longer becomes a shortcut. It's just a thing that everyone does, and it's not really a thing anymore. Like, we learned how to tie knots. That was a big breakthrough. And then everyone ties their shoes, and they're like, oh my God, let me show you the shortcut to this. It's like, oh, you tie, like, oh my God, everyone does it, and it's like not a thing anymore, right? And so all the things that you want to have that most people don't have shortcuts. But the thing is so many people waste so much time. They literally waste longer than it would have taken the hard way, or the only way, to get there in search of the easy way that doesn't exist. And so the reality of this is that it's usually 100 small things that make days, weeks, and months hard. It's the never-ending onslaught of shit. And then you remember, after going through that onslaught of shit, that you signed up for this. But then again, you figured that it would be hard. And then you're reminded that this is what hard feels like. And so you keep going, because it's the only choice you have.
There's always an advantage and a disadvantage from every position, right? So like, I remember Gym Launch is still a big company and still continues to grow, but in the gym licensing space, there's not many people who can compete with us there, right? And I would talk to guys who were in the space, I would talk at a conference, whatever. And, younger guys would be like, well, I want to be in this space too. And it's not fair because, you have this big advantage. And I was like, you have a way bigger advantage than I do. I was like, because if I were in your position, I would go to every single gym owner and be like, you don't want to be with Gym Launch. You don't want to be with Alex. You're just a number to him. Like, you're never going to talk to him. Like, you're just a cog in the wheel there. With me, you're going to get my personalized attention. There is just some employee down the chain that's following some process, right? I was like, but on the flip side, if I'm talking to that same gym owner, then I'm going to say, you don't want to talk to Jimmy. He lives in his mom's basement. He has no proof that he's good at what he's at. The reason that we're number one in the space is because we've done it so many times, and we have a system that we know that if you go on this side, you will get this result on the outside. I was like, there's always a position and there's always an advantage. I was like, you just have to play the one you've got. And most people just look at what everyone else's advantage is and don't think, which one do I have?
One of the easiest ways to have more money is to work more hours. And you're like, how is that possible? Well, when you work more hours, it actually kills two birds. One is that you actually make more money when you work more hours. But on top of that, you don't spend money because you have less time to spend it. And so every hour of work is a net positive in two directions. So it saves you money you're not spending and makes you money. And so you want to find those little twists that you can make in your investments of time and money that are outsized. It's not just that you gain, you also stop the loss. I've always been willing to bet big on me. And so a lot of you guys are trying to bet big on Dogecoin or some meme thing or some get rich quick. And I promise you, the guys who have all the money know how to do it better than you. And if you have your last $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 that you're like, what do I do with it? Bet on you, because you'll never sell you. You're a long-term hold, right? And so if you get better, you guarantee the win. And every investment you make compounds. You guarantee compounding because every skill stacks on top of other skills.
There's this line that I heard David Goggins say, I'm David Goggins, bitch. I remember him saying it, and I thought to myself, you want to be able to say that in the mirror to yourself and not laugh at yourself. Mm-hmm. And the only way that I can do that is know that when no one's watching, I work harder than when they're watching. And thinking about it like that has given me this persistent and ever-present scorecard or third party that's no one's watching, which means now you have to work because otherwise you're full of shit.
So after I lost everything for the second time, think about, I tell the story, but it's very easy to gloss over. But think about this. I had left my job, went to a new area, didn't know anyone, started a gym, didn't have enough money to have an apartment, slept at my gym, just grassroots got it going, made the gym successful by working there every hour of the day. Was finally successful enough to be able to open a second location, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, finally feel like I tasted success, I'm actually doing something, I'm actually pretty good here, that bet that I made actually paid off. And then I lose it all. And so I sell all those locations, I put the money in a new thing, and then it's gone. And so I could look back and say, wow, I just spent all those years and I actually have nothing to show for it. The only thing I would have had to show was the money that I made. And so one of the other repeated fatherisms that he gave me was that education is the only thing that no one can take from you. The skills you have, the skills you acquire along the way are the only thing that are truly yours. There's nothing else in this world that actually belongs to you. your clothes can get stolen, the belongings you have.
Nothing great was ever achieved by people who tried to be great at all things. And so I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna, I might not have a great relationship for a long period of time. I mean, there was like, a lot of people don't know this, but in the early days of our relationship, even when we were married, I told Leia, so the first 3 years, I said the business comes before our marriage. So a lot of people don't know that. And I was like, well, to me, it made sense. It was like, most people break up over money. The business makes money, so the business feeds us, and then we will be okay. That was kind of my thinking around it. And we eventually flipped that and said, like, if we're good, the business will be fine. But it took 3 years to get there. But all that to say, like, I think having periods of imbalance, and maybe, to be fair, if I hadn't had that priority at that time, maybe Gym Launch wouldn't have been what it became. And so I can't look back and say, like, I should have done it different, because it's really easy to say that now. But like, I might not be here to say that if I had been that way.
If you've ever been so drunk that you're throwing up and you think to yourself, man, I'm probably not going to remember this. The good news is that once you do succeed, that terrible period of vomiting or whatever the difficulty is that you're going through, it'll actually compress in your mind. And so as difficult as it may seem in the moment, it actually doesn't stay with you. All you'll have left is the thing you accomplished. You won't remember the work that it took to get there. There'll be a significant discount on the punishment you endured. I tend to have a bad habit of really not looking back very much. And so I occasionally will go through my photos and I am reminded about all of the mistakes and the detours that I took along the way to where I wanted to go.
You will die. Months later, no one will care. And so why care about what they think so much when they care so little about what you do? Like, take the risk, right? Shake off the losses, shake them off. Because in the end, you live for the story only you can tell to the only person who was there with you the entire time, which is you. You might as well make it epic, because you're literally the story writer and the story listener, the story consumer. We're born alone and we die alone. Even if other people captured your entire life, they still don't know what was going on in your head. They don't know your intentions. They don't know what you were thinking through at every given moment. Only you do that. That's why being able to, over time, in my opinion, be the judge, jury, executioner of your own faith and your own judgment is one of the most valuable things you can do, because you're the only person who can say, good job. You might win in some circumstances and not have tried. To me, that's a loss. Because you know you could have put more in. You didn't empty the tank, right? You left some on the field. The other extreme, if you followed a logical thought path and you moved mountains to try and accomplish something, and if you actually had exhausted every possible path that you could think of, truly, beyond costs that were not worth the price of whatever you were trying to get, you exhausted all of the paths that were worth it, and you don't get it, other people may have said that you lost. But you know there's nothing else you could have done. And so you can still say, good job.